Hello, everybody. Christina Wolf here for the weekly card pull party and energy update. And I'm better late than never. this Today has been kind of a crazy day. I went to go get my oldest son from his dad. That was a 4-hour drive, and so now I have all my children here. And whenever all of my children are here, I start to get pretty frazzled because they require a lot of time and attention. So I just went and got my middle child a skateboard because he's having a lot of boredom issues, and now they're outside skating, and we had a big scare because I did not know where they were and they were up the road skating at the park. So that's why we're a little bit late for the 8 o'clock, and I appreciate everybody's patience here. I don't have an animal card for my animal totem that's I guess what I want to talk about this week, and it's the vulture, for lack of a better term. Turkey buzzard here in Texas. They are actually very popular. I don't want to say popular, populous. there are a lot of them, in other words. So, and I see them a lot, and I can't ignore that they have a message for me. And for me, the turkey buzzard is all about exactly what it hello there, Laura, welcome. To me, the turkey buzzard is all about just what it sounds like. What do? They clean up the dead and the old. And I really feel like every time I see them, as I'm driving along, or they're just everywhere. They're very majestic looking in the air, and when you see them like close up or a photo of them, they're kind of very homely looking birds. But most people think of buzzards or vultures as a really negative thing. Hello, Megan, welcome. If you're just popping on and you want a card, let me know. If you'd like an herbal tarot card or an animal card, let me know. So Megan, which one would you like? And Laura, if you would like one, let me know. So as I was saying, for me, the turkey buzzard has been talking to me a lot. And the only message that what do they do in life? What do buzzards do in life? They circle around and they look for the weak and the old, and they basically swoop down and they clean up carrion or roadkill on the road. But they kind of do a dirty job but it's so necessary. Like, what would we do if we didn't have these animals that cleaned up death and waste, essentially? And to me, there's something really eloquent in that. I think that the buzzards tell us to be mindful to get rid of the old and don't let stuff hang around. It really helps you. It's just been a reminder to me when there's a lot of negativity, and there's a lot of negativity. And I attribute what's going on in the world stage right now with like Trump and the border here and all that to, I think it's a lot to do with Scorpio, Jupiter being a Scorpio. Scorpio is our subconscious. Scorpio is our deep secrets and underbellies and our darkest views, and it just gets to the real uncomfortable truths of the matter. And as much as this week was like really painful for me, I think the turkey vulture was a sign to me saying, like, clean up your energy, clean up who your cohorts are, clean up the thoughts that you're having, and don't let it build up, because it becomes like rotting flesh. It becomes things that could unnecessarily weigh you down and create like an environment that, if not taken care of and not cleaned up, could be putrefying, for lack of a better term. And so just a reminder to everybody too, if you are having like heavy energy, and it's pretty heavy, at the same time, it depends on what you're paying attention to. If you're having that heavy energy, just be mindful to get the stress out of your body, get the stress out of your head. Some really easy ways that I've had to tend to getting the stress out of my body is just daily meditations, getting out and walking. Like if you know you're not paying attention to the things that your sacred daily practices, the things that you do that make you feel better, I think Turkey Vulture is reminding you of that. Reminding you, make sure you're practicing good energetic hygiene. Make sure you're getting out the old, that which is unwanted, that's accumulating in you. And I want to turn on my light because normally I rely on natural light, but it's going to get dark here in a minute and it'll look kind of funny. Okay, so hello to Hope and anyone else who's just popped on. So I got Megan who would like, she didn't say which kind of card. And then Laura, an herbal card, okay. And Hope would like an animal card. Okay, sweet. So I really think I'm going to go through my animal deck and put in some animals on the blank cards, like the Turkey Vulture, because that one shows up quite a bit for me. And just a few others, like the crane. Those are ones that I see. I see a lot of bird messengers here in Texas. Texas, actually, if you aren't aware, where I am at, is one of the bird watching capitals of the world. People from all around the world come down to South Padre Island here to see rare birds because they all seem to migrate here during the winter time, and they just have like a plethora of species of birds that come and go. And to me, they're just really, I get a lot of messages from birds, owls, that sort of thing. So there's another little piece I wanted to talk about that's coming up. June, unlike July and August, which both have eclipses in it, we can get into that later. June, at the end of the month, has Mars going retrograde. So if you're getting this sensation that, of course, Mars is like that sort of like get it done energy, like kind of forceful. We're not going to talk about it. I'm just going to take what I want kind of thing. Energy. And it also is good generative energy. Like it's the very first sign in the zodiac, and you know, it's good starter energy. So you know, like think of the spark in a fire. It's not the burning energy of the fire. It's the flint sparking, if that makes sense. It's that sort of energy. And so when Mars goes retrograde, we're going to get a feeling of like, I can't get stuff going. I can't get things started. But at the same time, it's also a good time to go within and take a break. If you are type A, or if you're somebody who likes to go, you're on the hamster wheel, then Mars going retrograde sort of gives you permission in a way. Because if you don't give yourself permission to relax, you're probably going to wind up frustrated and burning out. So the question during this time, and I love this, I got this from Kai Pacha's Pele report, Tom Lesher. Even if I don't listen to it for the week, if I listen to it like after the fact, I'm like, oh, that explains why I had the week I had or the thought I had. And most of the time what he's saying is like pretty spot on. After the week that I had bickering with people online about the immigration law and, you know, separating families, and me just getting into it with people at my workspace online on Facebook, you know, in a way that felt I came away feeling kind of disappointed that I wasn't so empowered, and I couldn't find an empowered way to speak in my truth. And I really wrestled with, do I get into it with these people about this subject, or do I let it go? And I just feel my own, thoughts and energy on it, and don't choose to engage in drama with other people. But there's this sense of, should I speak up on this subject or keep quiet? And everything was telling me to speak up on the subject, because speak your truth. And there was like plenty of opposition there, and I really think that again was some of that Jupiter and Scorpio energy that's going to be here through November. I am really looking forward to it switching over into my my own sign of Sagittarius, which is going to be, I think a lot of us will feel a huge breather. A lot of that Me Too movement came from that Jupiter in Scorpio energy of people misusing their power, people doing things that we're just outraged about, and it coming to light, basically. But all of this coming to light is kind of tiresome at times. And so all of that mixed with the Mars energy, there's this sense of, as Kai Pacha was saying, and I wrote it down, do I change myself or the outside world? How much is it my perspective, and how much is it really, no, this is stuff that's going on and I need to address this? There's another little piece I wanted to add to this. The whole Saturn returns that I mentioned here and there, every 28 years, Saturn comes back into its home sign of Capricorn. And we're going to be still feeling Saturn in Capricorn till I think about spring of next year. And for me, because I'm Capricorn rising sign, I'm profoundly affected by this. And this is probably one of the reasons why I went into law enforcement, because Saturn is the law of the land. It's the 3D complications, the things that in your idealistic, airy-fairy world, you'd be, I'd love to, change the world. But then Saturn is saying, sorry, there's real laws, that come into play that will interfere with your lovely airy-fairy plans and dreams. And at the same time, it's also very practical things. Like these laws make sense. It makes sense to maybe have a speed limit because of safety issues or whatnot. But we're coming into the law around immigration that's people are arguing about. And so we see that maybe the law at times can be reinterpreted in different ways. And what I wanted to get at, though, why Saturn, the influence of Saturn is so important this month and around Mars retrograding for 2 months, basically for the rest of summer during the eclipse season, which is going to be interesting. Do I change myself or the outside world? How much of outside laws, even the court of public opinion, how much of this 3D world truly needs to be changed for you to feel okay? And how much of this outside world is really irrelevant to your inner world? I've seen an awful lot on Facebook and social media talking about spiritual bypassing, hey, just love and light. Forget about all your traumas. Forget about all the racism. Forget all the blah, 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 blah. And how much that's very painful to people who have been living in this Saturnine world of the real world, where, hey, you can tell me all, we can live in the clouds and the airy-fairy world, but in real life, things like the law and racism and things like that are very real things, and they do affect us. So this month, when Mars goes retrograde, at the end of the month, we're very much close to that point this week. I think it's like the 28th. Don't quote me on it, but it'll go retrograde around the midweek somewhere, if not already. And we'll get that sense of, is it worth it to me to work on my inner world, or is it important that I really address these things in the 3D world that are limiting me in a very Saturnine way? So that may come up for some of you guys. So, and I'm feeling it, you know, this is like, do I just ignore friends who say jerkish things, or, you know, and let it be just how I'm dealing with it? Maybe I'm getting easily offended. Or do I just, I don't need to deal with you. Delete, unblock, you know, block, whatever, move on. It's that sort of stuff. Like choosing your battles, like what's worth the battle and what isn't. And Mars, of course, is the god of war. And, you know, if he's going retrograde, it's kind of the way of saying, you know, put down your arms for a minute and really think about, where do you want your energy to go? Where do you want your energy to go? So in the meantime, and don't be afraid to say, I don't want to spend my energy on this. I don't want to give away vital life force on stuff that's basically leaking like life force from me. And that's perfectly okay. That may be the very question you should be asking yourself. Is this leaking vital life force? And if it is, then that's the only incentive I need to, you know, either stop thinking that thought, or stop hanging out with those people, stop doing that thing, or start doing the thing I know restores me. It's that sort of energy. I think this retrograde period will help us slow down a bit and address that. So I was sort of shuffling the cards while I was thinking about all that energy, and I'm going to open up some sacred space. And I'd like to invite in the winds of the east and Brother Eagle, of course, the bird's eye view. We thank you so much for giving us the wisdom of the void. This is the place from which we all come from, the springtime of our life. This is the place that we also ask all of our answers from. And this is the place that we will return upon, you know, our ending of our earthly life. And so we thank you for your wisdom. We thank you for your great mystery, and we thank you for perspective and knowing that this too shall pass, and one day we'll all go back to dust. And so we thank you for that, and that generative energy of the new coming up from the spring, the wellspring of life. So thank you so much for the winds of the east. Now to the winds of the south. Brother Snake, you know, I actually had a dream about you, and while you may receive this maybe unjustified judgment about, you know, being an unsavory character, I believe that you have so much to teach us about knowing who you are and how to be humble and be yourself regardless of the opinions of others. We thank you for teaching us how to shed old skin. We thank you for teaching us how to travel most humbly close to the earth, and for being in the summertime of our life, for being able to be in full bloom, to really truly be who you are and know who you are. We thank you so much for that energy. Thank you to Brother Snake. And now to the winds of the west. This is water energy. This is our emotions. This is all of the things that add this meaning to what has happened to us in life. And Brother Jaguar, and your impeccable integrity, when you're able to see things for what they really are and to help us through the fall of our life, the harvesting of all of our lessons, we thank you so much for being able to decipher what is our truth, what is an uncomfortable truth, what do we need to know, and to help us to choose the right use of our power. We thank you so much for Brother Jaguar and all of your lessons, the ability to tenaciously jump in the river and pick out that caiman and snatch it up and eat it, even if we've been starving for a week. This is the tenacity of Jaguar. This is the ability to survive, the spirit of survival, and to overcome. And we thank you for that energy. And then to the winds of the north, this is the spirit of our ancestors. This is the spirit of hummingbird. This is also the energy of elk and caribou, the spirit of winter, of endurance, the ability to go within at the winter of our lifetime to really think about all of our mental practices and thoughts and how we see the world, our consciousness. How awake are we truly? And this is where we tap into our lineage. This is where we tap into every ancestor that came before us. We are now the pinnacle of all of their consciousness come together, and we call on them to help us and guide us. And if you choose to be a healer, if you choose to be a light worker, if you choose to be an angel on earth, you can call upon the healers and the light workers and all the lineages of the medicine people and shamans before us, and they will give you strength during these difficult times where we've never been before. So we thank you so much for our ancestors and those who've gone before us. And as always, we love you, Mother Earth, and we thank you so much for holding us in your womb and taking care of us and providing for us and nurturing us. And we give you that love back. And thank you for grounding us and having such immense strength to carry us. And of course to Father Sky and the Great Spirit and Creator, who makes all of this possible, to the star nations that we are still discovering and who are discovering us, and all of our angels, spirit guides, ascended masters, any light beings with benevolent intentions. We welcome you here. We thank you for your wisdom. And so I'm going to start pulling from this deck here. I'm going to cut it 3 times, or shuffle 3. 3 is a great number. I was made aware when I was listening to another astrology report from a guy named Rick Levine. I'm not an expert in astrology at all, but I'm fascinated with it because I love cycles, I love patterns, and there are a couple really important aspects in the planets this month, and some of which are called trines. And trines are, of course, as it would sound, like 3 planets coming together, and they are in geometry. The triangle is the strongest figure. And so, of course, the Trinity, the Father, Son, Holy Ghost, 3 is a very holy number. So anyways, I'm going to cut the deck 3 times. So the idea is that if planets trine each other, it can be very favorable. Okay, so I'm going to pull this deck. This one's for Monday, Tuesday. This one is for Wednesday, Thursday. This one's for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And this is for the overall energy of the week. Oh, that's crazy. I'm reading your comments real quick. Oh, yeah. Hummingbird has been all over the place for me, too. It's a really good reminder to stay light, to let, and I'll tell you a little really quick aside. Okay, pay attention to the things that bring you bliss. Pay attention to the things that are beautiful. Like, beauty is out there because Spirit will reward you. There's just as much overcoming of suffering as there is the presence of suffering in this world. And so if you look at all the beauty in the world, there's just as much beauty as there is ugliness. And so after this week of really heavy ugliness and energy going on, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna, if I notice something that I like, I'm gonna just take a picture of it, whatever. And this young lady at the Starbucks had this really awesome tattoo of cherry blossoms. And I was like, you know, I really like that. Will you let me take a picture of it? And so I took a picture of it. And then I didn't think anything of it. and I went to go get my nails done because I haven't had my nails done in months, and we were going out to dinner with some friends, which was another joyous occasion that would have helped round out the week that we had. And I asked the lady, I said, you know, I'd really like an accent nail. Go ahead and you pick whatever design you want. And let me show you. What did she pick? I don't know if you can see this. Little cherry blossoms. You see that? And I didn't tell her anything about the girl at the drive-thru just like maybe an hour before. And so I really think that's spirit reminding you, like if you see something, to me those are nods from the universe. It was reminding me to continue to pay attention to things that are beautiful, because those are the things that will balance out sadness and suffering and all these other things. So yeah, and so hummingbird, it's that lightness of being that hummingbird is teaching us. So even when there is really heavy hucha energy, hummingbird reminds us to be what's called Sami, or lightness of being. So, because both are equally available to us. So, on that note, let's pull a card for Monday. I haven't done this one. 8 of Cups. Yes, Bridget, you can get a card. And hi, Christy, if you're just joining, if you'd like a card, let me know too. Animal or, you said animal card, perfect. And Christy, let me know if you want a herbal tarot card or animal card. So for Monday, and I'm really excited because I've been pulling cards that aren't ones that I pulled a lot lately. And so it's, to me, a sign that we're getting some new energy in. Okay, gravel root. 8 of Cups. A person is embarking on a journey into the night. The moment has come when one realizes that further progress can take place only after the lessons have been carried deep into the mysterious night of the subconscious. This is some of that Mars in retrograde. And Spirit's kind of been telling me, and I'm just giving you a heads up, this coming weekend is going to be special because my mom will be joining me for our card pull party. She's the one who gifted me the animal cards and taught me how to read the animal cards. So she's going to be joining us and doing that. And so I'm really contemplating after next weekend just sort of taking a month off and going within. And so this is sort of reminding me that that's really important. This is Mars in retrograde energy. The need to not do anything. Stop trying to do. So, and all of this like really heavy energy that we've had since, I think since before December, frankly, it's time to assimilate it, okay? Take some time off, even if it doesn't make sense. You will really be grateful for the fact that you let yourself have that time, okay? Even if it doesn't make sense. People are going to be there. If they're meant to be there, you know, you're not going to miss out if you take some time to go within. They'll be waiting for you when you come back. So believe that you're worth waiting for, okay? So, you know, take a break from all your weekly obligations, things that you're doing that just aren't restoring you at the moment, and use that time to go within, to go carry all of these lessons deep into your mysterious night of the subconscious, okay? Such moments can appear to be a retreat or escape, though on a closer examination, they are a way to coalesce one's powers. So this is when you start up-leveling, basically. This is where you feel that ascension. The card is under the influence of the waxing moon, signifying growth and expansion. Do not be afraid to leave old emotional baggage behind, but realize the perfection and the lessons learned. New shores await you. Call on Brother Snake for this energy. Let it go. Just let it go. Let go of the fear of what is. And have neutrality when you're looking at what's going on in your life. Because I think we get really hung up on what we think things mean instead of letting us process it and sort of watch it like a movie passing by us. There's a book called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Really good book. Kind of talks about this concept of letting thoughts float by you, kind of like as you're riding in a car and you see the trees passing. Just look at everything that's going through, you know, your head and your spirit and your mind, you know, just let it be neutral. And that's how you start assimilating things without assigning meaning to it. Especially if you're in a trauma response. One of the things characteristic of trauma or a traumatic memory is you store it a different way, and it doesn't get, when you heal that memory and it gets put back into your, it's kind of like, for lack of a better analogy, it's sort of like a virus going on, and you stay in a loop and in your computer and it doesn't let the computer run at optimal power, right? So when you reset that virus or remove it, or you let that file or data go back into a different file where it's contained and you can look at it from a neutral standpoint, then that helps your operating system, your consciousness, to to work at a more optimal level. You can look at those memories and not have such an emotional charge to them. When you look at them, they don't bring up that stress in the body. You're not, you pull the spirit back to the here and the now. So some of the, you know, this Eight of Cups is basically telling you to go within, let yourself assimilate. This might be a really good time to do some soul retrieval. It's always a good time for soul retrieval. But so if you're not familiar, soul retrieval is the practice of calling your spirit back to you, because you're always in, you always have a state of wholeness available to you, but we leave our spirit in places, especially if it's traumatic. It's called soul loss. Whenever you have trauma, it's soul loss, and you restore that piece of your soul back to you during soul retrieval. Okay, Alberto Villoldo, he wrote a book about this, and before that, Sandra Ingerman wrote a great book about this. These are people who are renowned in shamanism. I say renowned because they've brought Western familiarity to shamanism. Shamanism is been around for like 40,000 years, so it's not just Native American, it's like all the tribes. When we were hunters gatherers, most of us practice as humans practice tribal medicine. And so yes, in PTSD is let me tell you, okay, and I'll give you a little aside too. I've been going to this therapist who does EMDR, and I will say, when you start stirring up a hornet's nest of old memories, you're going to need some assimilation time, okay? Like, you bring up these old memories, right? And that energy comes up, and it's stored in your body. Give yourself time to process it. Give yourself time to release it and shed that old skin, get rid of that hoocha. And Mars in retrograde is a great time for this, I think. It's what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. Do I need to hold on to this anymore? It's really that energy. Okay, so that's coming up at the beginning of the week, okay? And I'll get you to, if anyone wants to look this up while I'm doing the rest of the reading, like when exactly Mars goes retrograde this week, that might help us out a little bit. If not, I'll try to find it. So gravel root helps to loosen up solidified emotions and feelings and allows them to be free-flowing and fluid. So if you're feeling that numbness, remember, numbness is okay, because at one point it was your body's way of protecting you from pain, from trauma, okay? There's nothing wrong with you because you may be feeling numb, right? These little things that we're doing here, like, you know, coming into community, learning to meditate, learning any little thing that's helping you feel better and get stress out of your body, these are self-supporting activities. So going to the therapist, whatever, create your toolkit of self-supporting activities so that when you become, you feel bolstered to let the numbness go and start feeling the pain again. Because as you feel it, as you loosen it up, it's going to come up and it's going to feel intense, but you're smarter, you're wiser now, and you can look at that old memory, the original wound, and let it go. let it go. You have to loosen it up. You have to unnumb it and feel it and then release it, okay? So gravel root is a great, the essence of gravel root could be an excellent plant for you to use to help with this process of unnumbing and releasing and becoming free-flowing. Sometimes free-flowing your grief is exactly what you need, because you need to let it out. I think I mentioned it too, like grief spots, acupuncture is great for letting go of stress in your body. If you're feeling a lot of like sadness or tightness in your chest or your throat area, press right here. This is your lung pressure points, and most of the time they're really tender, because I think in our society we're really cut off from our feeling place, our feeling sense, and we store a lot of grief here. If you hold on to it, it's really tender. You can sort of massage it a little bit. This will help you release this. Yes, and let yourself, gift yourself that time to heal. And we're so busy. We're so busy. Oh, this is another thing that I thought was funny, because I was listening to Rick Levine's astrological report, and he was saying how like June is weird because there's nothing really going on. And then I listened to Kai Pacha talking about, you know, there's all these other things going on. This aspect is trine and that aspect is trine, and, you know, etc. But Rick Levine was saying how during these down times, that's when we tend to get sick, because we finally give ourselves permission to rest, right? And so I was thinking, this is the time, June, this month is a great time for us to process these things that we were maybe too busy to process all in, you know, December, January, February, whatever. And so really give yourself the gift of time to slow down and say, what do I really think and feel about all this? Like, I just went through this crazy experience, and how do I really feel about it? Like, or admit, wow, that really felt like crap. How many of us maybe get into an argument with somebody and we're reliving it over and over and over again, and we're feeling that tightness in our body? And then if we stop and we really ask ourselves, what is that tightness? It's like, I just want to cry. Like, that's held grief. Your throat is like where you express that which is within. So that's why when people feel tightness in their throat, a lot of that is like grief that they don't allow to come up. And so maybe you have stuff you aren't processing, these emotions you're not processing. You know, wow, admit, like, that really hurt my feelings. Let yourself have a good cry, something like that. Gravel root will help you through this process. Yes, gravel, like Gravel. Gravel root releases or relieves excess water from the body and is a tonic to the kidneys and bladder. Mind you, bladder, I mentioned this before, this is where we hold a lot of anger. That's why the saying, you're pissed off, comes out. If you are like nervous peeing, like one of those people, whenever people get nervous, feeling a lot of emotion, what do you have to do? You got to go to the bathroom, right? Huge moments of fear or trauma in the body, you wet your pants, right? The bladder is another place in your body that really holds that angsty energy, and so gravel root can help you flush that out. A lot of us women who have overactive bladder, interstitial cystitis, all those things going on, look at who are you mad at. Most of the time it's a very close partner. And that will alleviate some of that cystitis or the bladder pain or stuff going on. It is commonly taken to help dissolve and expel stones from the urinary tract. Kidney stones. Kidney stones are known to be little pockets of anger that you didn't let yourself let go of, right? To enhance the process of loosening up stuck and solidified emotions, take the herbal essence of gravel root or carry some of the root in a pouch as a talisman. So this is this book here always suggests getting some kind of like little medicine bag, and you can get them at you could buy them online. You can go to some of these new age stores. I go to a healing arts fair every month, and the people there are a few vendors there that make them from hand. They're medicine bags, and you decide what kind of herbs you want to put in them. And gravel root could be a really good one for you to stick in there. The essence of it. You can even just write gravel root or a photo of it and put it in there. You don't need to actually literally have the herb. It's just the essence of it, the idea of it, to really help you with this process of releasing and loosening up solidified energy, anger, grief, whatever. Keywords is leaving old emotions behind, moving deeply inward to reevaluate the emotional situation. Reevaluate the emotional situation. Like, you could be like, man, I'm hanging on to all this stuff and I really don't need to. New shores are awaiting. I acknowledge past emotions, even past trauma, and make way for the new, rejuvenated self to be revealed. Look forward to this new, rejuvenated self. Look forward to Brother Snake helping you shed old skin. So let's see what we have now. This is for Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, I'm really enjoying these cards lately. Okay, let me see this note real quick before I reveal the next card. This point you're making about time for stimulation is important as the rest of the work, and often not fully addressed or emphasized. So important. Yeah, I want to say a piece about that too. Doing the work, like going out and doing that energy of focusing attention and going and taking action, that's very masculine, right? And we really honor that, and we think we should be doing something in order to be doing something. But equally important is the feminine of allowing and assimilating and going within and letting it take, sort of settle in, and like, how do I really feel about this? That's equally important. And so a lot of us do, go, and then we don't balance it with that feminine energy of assimilation. And it's really important to do that. So, and I am probably one of the worst people to I need to take my own advice, basically. That's why I'm really considering taking July off. And I probably will, but the part of me that's really masculine and wants to push through, even though Mars will be retrograde, is going to be like, I don't know if I can let it go. Next card. Justice. We need some justice, right? Plantain. Whenever I think of plantain, I always think of fried plantain, which is like a little type of banana. And let me see. Justice emerges out of the dense forests of darkness and confusion, holding the crystal of light in one hand and the scales of balance in the other. The displayed sword symbolizes the unqualified search for truth. I think this is saying once you take that time to go within, you're going to find your truth. How do I really feel about this? What did I think? What did I truly come away with from that experience? Her outer cape of red represents strength and power, and the inner gown of pink expresses her compassion. Justice, ruled by Libra, represents our internal need for equilibrium. There's that masculine, feminine. We're really going to need that this week. Really pay attention to that balance, okay? She is the faithful divine mother, preserving us and maintaining our health physically, emotionally, and spiritually. She protects those things which are important to us, and with her sword, she carves off what is useless and worn out. Again, turkey vultures, that's what they're there for. The essence of turkey vultures, really important work that they do. They go in and they get rid of that which we don't need. Clean out the old and the dead and the dying, right? And that which is useless and worn out. Justice is the appreciation and understanding of the laws of nature. When we are in harmony with these laws, we are protected in all ways. So if we're not in right relationship, and I think that phrase gets not, I guess, misused or not explained when used. Right relationship means that integrity that Brother Jaguar is talking about. Be impeccable with your word. Don't misuse your power. Are you saying and doing things that are in alignment with your truth? And are your current beliefs and actions, are you living in a way that supports your inner truth? So when we're in harmony with these laws, we are protected in all ways. When we are in disharmony, pain and personal discomfort arise. Justice teaches us how, through work and action, we can cultivate health for body, mind, spirit by being discriminating in the choices we make for ourselves. How do we want to choose our battles? Is this situation giving away vital life force? And why do I engage in things that give away my vital life force? She wants to take us toward our innermost joy. And so those things that cause you joy, like cherry blossoms, follow your bliss, really, because that's the balance we need. Especially if you're feeling a lot of compassion for suffering in this world and it's really weighing on you. Look for the ways that we are overcoming suffering as well. Give yourself that gift, okay? Don't let it weigh on you too heavy. Okay, so plantain, taken internally, soothes and cools hot inflammation. So when you do feel that you've given up tons of life force and you're really overheated and you're, pissed off at people and you're giving away your power, call on plantain to help you cool that inflammation. Phlegm, mucus, in other words, is your body's way of soothing yourself internally. It's creating like kind of a barrier to you and the irritant, and relieves, the immediate discomfort. But then the phlegm and the mucus and all that, tumors are made up of mucus, basically. It's when we reduce inflammation in our body, which starts with the energy that we have, all of that mucus goes away, right? Not all, we'll always have a little bit, I think. It helps because it's there to help sort of lubricate your body, but too much of it creates this inflammation in your body, too much irritant, either energetically, through the foods we're eating, through staying up too late, through holding stress in your throat, in your chest, that grief that you don't want to let go of. That's why people who have a lot of trauma in their life tend to manifest like things like COPD and pneumonia later in life, because they've held on to that grief. COPD meaning chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or emphysema, and it's like drowning in your own mucus. And so it's paramount we get this stress out of our bodies, and it starts with our own energy, right? So how do we help ourselves? This plantain is going to soothe all of that phlegm. The idea of it, again, the essence of it, get your little medicine bag. You don't necessarily, you can eat plantain if you want. I wouldn't, if you're going to fry it, I would say fry it in something like coconut oil. That's not going to be too inflammatory. As an herbal essence, plantain may be taken 3 times a day while saying an appropriate affirmation to enhance the Justice card's energy. A small piece of plantain can be carried as a reminder of the adjustment that is taking place within. For inflammation or as a diuretic and blood purifier, simmer 1 teaspoon in a cup of boiling water for 10 to 15 minutes. 1 cup can be taken 3 or more times daily as needed. An external poultice can be made by combining plantain and comfrey leaves. I love comfrey, by the way. With a small amount of cayenne pepper as a catalyst. The herbs are steamed or steeped in boiling water for about 15 minutes and then wrapped in a cloth or applied directly to the injury, wound, or splinter. One can simply chew a leaf of plantain and apply it to the wound. This is basically telling us we need inner balance right now. By creating greater balance within, I create more joy in my life. If you've really been on a roll and you're getting obsessive, like get off Facebook. Give yourself a Facebook fast. Even if you do it for 12 hours, that's still better than like constantly getting on Facebook. And, this is just an example I'm giving myself, because I mean, you can get on here and start getting into it with people and they create lots of inflammation in your head because you're getting so wound up about things. And a lot of us, light workers, we do feel very strongly about, some of these social injustices that are going on. So don't let those things interfere with your personal well-being. when it gets to that level of where you're so upset about something that it's interfering in your personal well-being, it's definitely time to go within. So let's do the card for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We got some fire energy coming up. Four of Wands. In many ancient traditions, it is the angels or devas who concern themselves with the maintenance of all existence and life. Here we find two of these experiencing the joy of a day's completion. Implicit in the scene is a subtle need to release the tension and pressure involved in completing a task and to experience completion before going on to the next task. How do we do this? Making time to be together and play is one important method, which also teaches the value of cooperation and prevents the dangers of egocentricity and over-seriousness. Another message of this card is to allow talents and skills to flow and be shared. Be unafraid to live up to your potential. Allow your inner light to shine through. I'm getting this feeling like I need to mention, start hanging out with different people, okay? Because they may have this different way of living or being or energy that like will kind of open up this whole new world, or maybe sort of reset you if you're kind of stuck in, you know, navel gazing and worrying about yourself and your own energy, or the people that you have been hanging out with are maybe the cause of your feeling negative or pulled down. Enjoy other people's talents and let them get you outside of yourself. Go play with some new friends, basically. Go play with some new people who make you feel good. And this creates balance, because if you've been having a hard time, if you maybe stayed to yourself, find a way to connect socially in a positive way, to create a community. You know, go do a meetup with people. It could be people you've never met before, but you're just like, oh, I found my people. Like, I'm now do, you know, I have like a local group of people that I do shamanism stuff with. And I need to remind myself, like, stop canceling times with these people because you're too busy or you have this work thing going or that, whatever. That's the balance that I guess we're being asked to do, or being called to bring to our lives this week and for the future, foreseeable future. That balance is required. So, and just because there was a saying that kept coming up to me this week, because I was looking at, you know, people on Facebook just saying ugly stuff over and over and over and over and over again. And I was like, if you're thirsty, stop looking at the desert for water, okay? You know, if you want water, search for lakes. You know, if you want kindness and you want people who think like you, seek them out. Because if you keep trying to convince other people, it's that energy that we're feeling of this Mars retrograde. Do I try to change other people, or do I try to change myself? And it's that inner outer world battle that's going on. And so if what you're looking at, you know, there's the saying in psychology of confirmation bias. If I decided that there's no water in this world, everywhere I look is going to look like a desert to me. But if I decide that I'm going to find water everywhere I look, I'm going to be searching for water, and I'll find it. It's that same idea. Go find your friends, the people who are kind. If you're looking for compassion, if you're looking for people who do care, if you're looking for, you know, people who will confirm to you that you are a worthy individual, they're there. You know, and those of us who are in this, you know, maybe a trauma response from our, you know, abandonment issues or whatnot, we have searched in the desert looking for water, and you're not going to find the water there, okay? Plenty of sand, but that's not what you're really looking for. You're searching for water expecting to get sand, and that's not the right way to be. That's the right relationship thing that we're talking about. So hopefully I'm making sense there. you have the power to find what you want. You have the power to decide who gets to be in your inner circle as well. Okay, so let's see. What do we have? Oh, cute. For the card for the week, the energy of the week, the overall energy of the week, things to keep in mind. So we've got some air energy. The Five of Swords, mistletoe. After using unfair and devious methods, a man has achieved an empty victory. He carries 3 swords, while 2 swords remain on the ground in the form of a sacrificial cross. The 2 people near the water feel defeated, rejected, and despondent. They see the sun in the distance being taken over by darkness, rather than seeing it as a glimmer of hope and optimism. We just talk about looking for the thing that you're hoping to find, right? One can be the oppressed or the oppressor. This is that right relationship with self. This is how well are you using your power, right? Looking at a situation as a failure is not acknowledging the lessons that are being learned and is nurturing a defeatist attitude. That's what this whole thing this week is. If you're feeling this defeatist attitude thing going on, go within. Really take the lessons out of it. You need to get quiet to really feel those lessons. One can be the oppressor, the oppressor, looking at a situation as a failure, is not acknowledging the lessons that are being learned, and is nurturing a defeatist attitude. Likewise, looking at a situation as a conquest will set up the energy of unhealthy competition and eventual defeat. Either way is a no-win situation. The energy that sets up the situation must be released, and a new attitude must be adopted. An affirmation that promotes loving allowance for the self and others is necessary. Really pull back. If like I found myself sort of getting really frustrated. Like, how could you believe in this guy's policies if you are a kind, loving human being? So if you like this person's policies, you must not be a kind, loving. I really could not reconcile in my head, and it started giving me this feeling of separation from others, right? And so pull back, really use the essence of Brother Eagle, that bird's eye view, like that neutrality, that sense of, why would someone really think this way? And if they think this way, it may be because of this fear or that fear, or maybe they truly believe X, Y, Z. Like, take the emotion out of it and look at it through neutrality, like not a right or wrong thing, but a this just is feeling, okay? An affirmation that promotes a loving allowance, like you're allowing somebody to just be who they are. If you accept what is, it can flow and move away a lot better if it's not what you want, right? But if you resist, it persists. Be grateful for the lessons learned and try not to get into a win-lose way of thinking. Like, in other words, you can have your thoughts, I can have mine, and let's keep moving. This can truly be a turning point in one's life when one can either be honest with oneself or go into deeper deception. That's that right relationship with self. Are you being honest with yourself? Really ask yourself, are you being honest with yourself? Like I had to say, maybe I'm being way more argumentative than I realized. Maybe I'm judging them, that sort of thing. When I say them, I mean, people that I felt have different views than me. Mistletoe was highly revered by the Druids, who ceremoniously gathered the plant from oak trees. It was said that the mistletoe protected the wearer from all evil. That said, protection from evil, like some of us think, oh, I've been under psychic attack. These people are saying terrible things to me. I kind of have mixed feelings about that. I feel that there's times for protection, because I do believe that evil does exist, and I do believe that, but when we're in right relationship, that we are naturally vibrating at a level that's not attracting that evil. And I know that's way simplified and sounds airy-fairy, but mistletoe protects the wearer from all evil, and that the oaks it grew upon were to be respected as well. Branches of mistletoe were carried at the ceremonies that announced the new year, which probably accounts for why it is now used during the Christmas holidays. Another legend says that an ancient god of peace was killed by an arrow of mistletoe. His passing was deeply mourned, and it was requested that he be brought back to life. He was returned to life, and henceforth the mistletoe was kept safe by the goddess of love. It was asked that all those who passed under it should kiss, so that it is forever remembered as a symbol of love and not hate. Mistletoe can be used for protection, but I think ultimately, if you bring kindness to the situation, the love, just a reminder to infuse the situation with love instead of hate or frustration. And if you can't infuse the situation with love or hate, ask mistletoe to protect you from it, that negativity, and get the hell up out of there, really, frankly. You don't need to stay somewhere that's not going to give you the environment you want. Here's the other thing. Mistletoe will help develop the ability to be an observer to oneself in one's situations. That's the important thing. Be an observer. Pull back and be the person who watches what other people are thinking, what you're thinking. It's that in that book I was saying, The Untethered Soul, you're the watcher. Mistletoe can be worn or carried in a pouch, again, the medicine bag, or to remind the wearer of the calmness of heart that she must try to embrace during the lessons of the Five of Swords. This is that calmness of heart that I really could have used this week. And I'm not going to judge myself anymore on that. So let's pull a card. So Christy said, okay, I'll pick you an herbal card because let me see. Here's the rest of the deck. I'm going to pull an herbal card for you and for Laura. There's Laura. And then Christy. Okay. So for Laura, we've got the Ace of Wands. Yarrow. A hand emerges from the clouds embracing a wand and a sprig of yarrow. The life force of the spirit is fully acknowledged and accepted. The shafts of light are the inner illumination that one can experience. It is time for revelation and enlightenment. Be willing to face the truth, whatever it may be. The card also represents triumph and success of an endeavor or project. All one needs to do to be assured of success is to learn the power of consistency and endeavor, to pace oneself accordingly, and to follow an enterprise through to completion. So, Yarrow has a capacity to open the mind and the seventh chakra to inspirations and revelations from spirit. This, as you go within this week, this is a good time to get really close to your own intuition, to messages from spirit, to get your own revelations. Things may come to you in a flash and you'll be like, wow, you know what? This like totally changed complete direction from maybe the way things were going this week. Long associated with the divinatory I Ching of the Chinese, yarrow is a common wayside herb found in diverse areas of the world. It is assigned to this ace because it promotes warmth and circulation throughout the body and throughout one's being. The leaves and blossoms promote sweating for the treatment of fevers, colds, and flu. The digestion, relieve menstrual cramps, staunch bleeding, and generally assist blood circulation throughout the body. So, again, you can carry it in a pouch, take it as an herbal essence to increase intuitive attunement between the inner and outer aspects of being. The tea is made by steeping an ounce of the dried leaves and flowers in a pint of boiling water, and then cover until cool enough to drink warm. So, I am a child of the universe. I embrace the illuminations revealed. So be open to what's revealed to you this week. And now this is for Christy. A lot of fire energy this week. 8 of Wands. 8 staves fly swiftly toward an undefined target. The card represents the need for focused, swift, and efficient action to deal with the problems at hand. Goal and sight were presented with a variety of diversions and problems, perhaps, as a test of our resolve to continue the quest. The absence of a human figure on the card suggests that at such times of crises, we may temporarily lose our sense of self in the various problems and concerns with which we are dealing. It may be time for quick action and clarity in communication. Be willing to express your ideas and to break through the blockages that present themselves to you. Work at establishing a greater communication between the higher sublime self and the beings and angels that guide you, for you may find greater clarity as to what is to be done next. Sassafras opens up the 5th chakra, your throat, and allows easier communication of ideas. It enhances the connection you have with the angelic beings that watch over you. Sassafras affords you greater psychic protection against the negative effects of external harassment and attack. Maybe we need some sassafras this week. It will ward off or lessen the blows of conflicting forces. So I really think I'm going to use some sassafras this week. Sassafras is useful both as a circulatory stimulant and as a detoxifying blood purifier. The herbal essence may be used as needed, and the talisman may be worn to bring about spiritual results. It may be a good idea to meditate while taking the herb and gently asking for the guidance that you seek. Keep yourself open for whatever communication is given to you. This is really talking about you creating a stronger connection to you and your higher self and your spirit guides. That conversation that you're having between spirit and you. Lots of ideas coming in at once. Communication needed, rapid developments, new ideas about philosophy on life, making fast decisions. You may be having some aha moments this week. And the affirmation is, I respond to challenges with decisive clarity and vigor. Okay? Decisive clarity and vigor. So now I'm going to, I never did hear from Megan which card she wanted. So I guess she's popped off. And I'm going to pull, you're going to get some gravel root. Yes, awesome. I'm going to pull the 2 animal cards. For Hope and Bridget. You're just popping on, say hi. I know a few people came and went and came back again, maybe. Almost there. Sweet. So, wonderful animals of the world. You know, the other thing I noticed too, if you're really feeling conscious, tune into the energy of trees. I have found them to be very wise. I know it sounds kind of, hello, Pettibon. Hope your vacation is going well. Let me know if you want a card. Anyways, trees. I'm driving along, and I tend to get, like, tune into their energy quite a bit when I'm driving. They like to, I don't know what it is. kind of like animals have messages for you, I really believe, you know, plants do too. I had this flower right before I lost my house to foreclosure. I had to, this is the strangest story, I had to meet this lady who was the realtor for the VA where which had my loan. And she needed me to meet her at her salsa dancing classes for me to sign the papers. That was the only time we could meet up. And right outside the door, there was this beautiful rose bush, and this perfectly intact rose had fallen off and was just like literally laying there. And like whenever you get, it's kind of like picking up feathers. Native Americans believe, you know, don't ever take a feather unless it's meant for you. But I really felt like that rose was meant for me. I don't want to, here it is. It's all dried now, but I saved it. I don't know if you can see this. So I think that plants can be messengers just as much as animals can be messengers. And the rose told me, you know, everything's going to be fine. That actually it was in my favor, you know, just trust in spirit. Roses, of course, remind me of Mother Mary. And so I don't know why I was mentioning trees, but whenever I do animal cards, I'm reminded that not just animals have essence and power, you know, plants, trees, people, other people. They can be messengers for us. So here's a card for Hope, and here's a card for Bridget. Let's see what the animals have to tell you. And like I was saying, I'm getting lots of messages from the buzzards, the Texas vultures. They love to tell you to clean it up, basically. Clean up your energy. Get rid of the old, get rid of anything that's dead, putrefying, you need to move on from. Do the hard stuff that's necessary. So, and here's another thing. Spider, this is for you, Hope. Spider. Spiders are another one of those, like kind of like porcupine or snake or whatever. They're just kind of maligned. People don't really like them, but you know, in the place where I was getting my nails done, the lady had a little spider coming down the archway, and everybody was freaking out, and she got one of the nail techs to come over and stomp the thing, and I was like, oh, poor spider, he wasn't doing anything. But you know, us humans, we fear that which we don't know. And spider actually is very fastidious. Think about Charlotte's Web. Because of that spider, Wilbur got to live. Spider, the essence of spider teaches us about weaving, okay? Weaving, spider weaving webs of delight. Weave me a peaceful world, carrying creation in your web, waiting to be unfurled. So, spider wove the web that brought humans the first picture of the alphabet. The letters were part of the angles of her web. Deer asked Spider what she was weaving and why all the lines looked like symbols. Spider replied, why, dear, it is time for Earth's children to learn to make records of their progress on their Earth walk. Deer answered Spider, but they already have pictures that show through symbols the stories of their experiences. Yes, Spider said, but Earth's children are growing more complex, and their future generations will need to know more. The ones who come won't remember how to read the petroglyphs. So it was that Spider wove the first primordial alphabet, as she had woven the dream of the world that had become manifest. Spider's dream of the physical world has come to fruition millions of years before. Spider's body is made like the number 8, consisting of 2 lobe-like parts connected at the waist and 8 legs. Spider is a symbol for the infinite possibilities of creation. Her 8 legs represent the 4 winds of change and the 4 directions of the medicine wheel. Spider weaves the webs of fate for those who get caught in her web and become her dinner. This is similar to humans who get caught in the web of illusion in the physical world and never see beyond the horizon into the other dimensions. The web of fate also represents a wheel of life, which does not include any alternatives or solutions. It is typically human to get caught in the polarity of good or bad fortune without realizing that we can change it at any time. If we are not decisive enough about changing our lots in life, we may end up being consumed by our fears and limitations. Spider's the female energy. No wonder she's feared. She's misunderstood. Of the creative force that weaves the beautiful designs of life. Her web has hundreds of intricate patterns which catch the morning dew. If spiders dropped from her web into your cards today, she may be telling you to create, create, create. And hope you do quite a bit of that with your stones and your rock paintings. And this is really just, I think, more incentive to keep doing that. Look for new alternatives to your present impasse. She can also be warning you that you are coming too close to an entangling situation. Spider could be asking you to use a journal to write out and review your progress. If you do this, you will not forget how you're creating a new or different phase in your life. Spider brings a message of a different kind when she sees you becoming a bit too involved in the weaving of your life plans to notice opportunity at the outskirts of your web. If this is the case, Spider gets your attention so that you notice that something you have woven has borne fruit. Congratulations! Spider caught you just in time before you missed the opportunity on the edge of your web or reality. The most important message from Spider is that you are an infinite being who will continue to weave the patterns of life and living throughout time. Do not fail to see the expansiveness of the eternal plan. There's a great book called, oh my goodness, I'll have to find it. It's a great book about a lady. Oh, I'm having a total brain fart now. Her name was Nina or something like that. And she's talking about, it was this Hay House story, and she died from cancer, but then when she died and she came back, she had like one of those spontaneous, miraculous healings. But when she had her near-death experience, I think it's called Dying to Be Me. She was talking about how she saw the weaving of the tapestry of life and how we're all part of it. And it's a really great book. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I think it's called Dying to Be Me. Yeah, Anita Moorjani is the name of it, the author. I'll put it in here. Check that out if you're interested in the idea of weaving the tapestry of life. There you go. So that's some spider energy for you. So, and last but not least, I have Bridget. Ooh, the horse. She showed up, I think, last week for somebody. Let's see. This is all about your personal power. Horse is all about power and maybe the right use of power. Mighty horse, power to run across the open plains or to bring the vision of the shields dancing in purple dream ring. Stealing horses is stealing power was a statement made frequently in historical Native America and a reference to the esteemed role which horse played in the native cultures. Horse is physical power and unearthly power. In shamanic practices throughout the world, horses enable shamans to fly through the air and reach heaven. On our earth, horse really changed our ability as what we could do for work. How much work could we do? We could plow with horses. We could move much heavier objects. We could, I don't know if you remember that book, The Clan of the Cave Bear, but Ayla, when she domesticated the first horse, she was able to create kind of like a little, I forget what they call it, where kind of like a trailer, for lack of a better term, without wheels, and it helped her to drag like lots of stuff and live by herself. But this horse, domesticating horses in our culture, really changed, kind of like learning fire, really changed the way we look at ourselves and our capabilities. So Humanity made a great leap when horse was domesticated, a discovery akin to that of fire. Before horse, humans were earthbound, heavy-laden, and slow creatures indeed. Once humans climbed on horses' back, they were as free and fleet as the wind. They could carry burdens for great distances with ease. Through their special relationship with horse, humans altered their self-concept beyond measure. Horse was the first animal medicine of civilization. Humanity owes an incalculable debt to horse and to the new medicine it brought. It would be a long walk to see one's brother or sister if horse had not welcomed the two-legged rider upon its back. Today, we measure the capacity of engines with the term horsepower, a reminder of the days when horse was an honored and highly prized partner with humanity. Dreamwalker, a medicine man, was walking across the plains to visit the Arapaho Nation. He carried with him his pipe, the feather tied to his long black hair pointed to the ground, marking him as a man of peace. Over the rise of a hill, Dreamwalker saw a herd of wild mustangs running toward him. Black Stallion approached him and asked if he was seeking an answer to his journey. Black Stallion said, "I am from the void where answer lives. Ride on my back and know the power of entering the darkness and finding the light." By the way, if you have dreams about horses, their different colors signify certain things. Like in here, I was talking about Black Stallion. I'm from the void where answer lives. The void being, the winds of the east, the place where we all come from, where Raven goes into to get answers and come out of. Ride on my back and know the power of entering the darkness and finding the light. Dreamwalker thanked Black Stallion and agreed to visit him when his medicine was needed in the dream time. Yellow Stallion approached Dreamwalker next and offered to take him to the east, where illumination lives. Dreamwalker could share the answers he found there to teach and illuminate others. Once again, Dreamwalker thanked Yellow Stallion and said he would use these gifts of power on his journey. Red Stallion approached, rearing playfully. He told Dreamwalker of the joys of balancing work and heavy medicine with the joyful experiences of play. He reminded Dreamwalker that he could better hold the attention of those he taught when humor was integrated with the lesson. Dreamwalker thanked him and promised to remember the gift of joy. Dreamwalker was nearing his destination. The Arapaho Nation was close at hand. White Stallion came to the front of the herd. I used to dream a lot about white horses. Dreamwalker mounted White Stallion's back. White Stallion was the message carrier for all the other horses and represented wisdom and power. This magnificent horse was the embodiment of the balanced medicine shield. "No abuse of power will ever lead to wisdom," said White Stallion. There's a lot of that right relationship with self, misuse of power, abuse of power. This is horse is telling you to be mindful of that. You, Dreamwalker, have made this journey to heal a brother in need, to share the sacred pipe, to heal the Mother Earth. Ask yourself, why are you here? What are you doing with yourself on this earth? Are you really, truly living up to your potential, what you're supposed to be doing? When I say supposed to, like, you came here with a divine mission, and you know what that divine mission is, and are you living up to it? Are you doing the thing that you know your spirit wants to do? And are you being in right relationship? Are you using your wisdom? Are you using it to lord over other people? Are you using it to take care of others? Like, when you're in a position of power, like, how do you conduct yourself? You have the knowledge through humility that you are an instrument of great spirit. As I carry you upon my back, you carry the needs of the people on yours. In wisdom, you understand that power is not given lightly, but awarded to those who are willing to carry responsibility in a balanced manner. Dreamwalker the shaman had been healed by the visit of the wild horses and knew that his purpose in coming to the Arapaho was to share these gifts with them. So there's lots of responsibility and wisdom. When you know better, you do better. When you have more, you give more. In understanding the power of horse, you may see how to strive for a balanced medicine shield. True power is wisdom found in remembering your total journey. Your total journey. This is that, like, harvesting the lessons of the dark nights of the soul, that, Jaguar medicine, in my opinion. Wisdom comes from remembering pathways you have walked in another person's moccasins. Compassion, caring, teaching, loving, and sharing your gifts, talents, and abilities are the gateways to power. So, that concludes this week's card reading. Thank you to everyone who showed up late. You know, because I was late. Today was a day to be late. I think we're all on our own time, but thank you for coming on. Even when I said 8 o'clock, I didn't come on until like 8:07. Next week, just a reminder, I'm going to have my lovely mother, Rona, with me, and she's going to be helping me read the cards. So, I hope for you all to be there, because it might be the one only one I'll do for the next month or so, because I may take July off debating. Part of me doesn't want to give it up because I enjoy talking to you guys. Part of me just says it might be time to relax. And so thank you so much for coming tonight, and hope you enjoyed this reading. Thank you for your time, and love to you all. Bye for now.